So, guys, you're back with Queen Pin and the Wingman. Now, okay, we have no glasses this time. Like, where's the Clark Kent syndrome?
I was waiting for you to ask. I'm like, ooh,
there we go.
glasses.
There we go.
Let me clean
I'm
them
so
up.
like, I have to do like the Superman Clark Kent syndrome thing.
Oh, I could see you clear. Well, we lost these. We took them to Disney. We lost them. Did you see the photo I texted you and I said Rhea was wearing them?
Right.
Then we
Yeah.
couldn't find them. And
Happy
I just
birthday.
found them.
Well, happy belated birthday to Rhea, by the way, because
Yeah.
I am, I don't know if you know, but I'm following her on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm following her on Instagram. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's like, it's my birthday.
Oh, she's hilarious. She started a TikTok. She calls it her reality, like reality. And she does
Oh
one
my
every
God,
night.
that's so cute. I have to follow her. I have to follow
Yeah.
her.
She talks about her crazy adventures. So,
but you guys have some amazing adventures.
You live in Orlando, there's a lot to do, you know? Either you gravitate towards it or you despise it. Kind of, the tourist lifestyle. I mean, that's kind of what it's like. We love it. I call myself like what did I used to call my daughters? Not full-time tourists, but something, it'll come to me, but their whole lifestyle is a tourist, like they're living, they're local tourists, I guess you could say, right?
But I think that's a cool thing to do in your city though, because when sometimes, and it's crazy because even with a lot of New Yorkers, you will find out they know nothing about certain parts of the city.
Yeah.
They of course know their neighborhoods and things that are around them or places where they go to work, but when it comes to other parts of the city, they have no clue. Yeah. And it's like, and they're like, oh, I didn't know this place existed, or, because New York is the home of little everything. You've got little Italy, you've got little India, you've got little Jamaica, you've got
Chinatown, Greek town, fashion district. Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So, you can find, and we're not just talking food, because you can find fashion, you can find different looks, different cultures, things for your home, everything. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, and you find out how many people didn't know. It's like, oh, we have a vast Greek population. And you're like, I know. And they're like, but no, it wasn't here before. It's always been there. So
yeah, you got, it's not like Chicago. Chicago's so small, let's say, compared to New York, but you have 5 boroughs. And I realize a lot of my buddies that are New Yorkers, they kind of stay in their own pocket a little bit. Like, I'm only Brooklyn. I go Manhattan, but it's I don't want to be Manhattan people. I don't want to be bothered with the Bronx, Queens, or or Long Island. Is it Long Island, the other one, right?
Staten Island is the other one.
Staten Island. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Long Island here. Yeah, so Staten Island, you got the 5 borough, and a lot of people. I'm not saying they don't go to those areas throughout their life, but they don't really go on adventures or really do things that are different than like going to a museum or going to what everybody else goes to. And that's kind of what Orlando's just crazy. It's exploding. There's so many things to do, so many restaurants now.
Wow.
So many hotels, so many parks. So
okay. So yeah, well, that's cool. That is so cool. Yeah. So as I hinted before, somebody's on TikTok, that other person on the other side of the camera, that person over there wearing the glasses and the blue shirt, him. But you've got this cool TikTok and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And one of the things that struck me was you said, don't let anybody tell you about yourself. And we don't normally think that because we're taught to take criticism and, not only critique, but advice and all of this stuff. And we don't realize that a lot of this is us having things put on us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the crazy part is that we don't realize that.
Yeah, we were programmed that way to let other people kind of dictate how we should feel, how we should live, how we should act. Why are you allowing anybody to, control any aspect of your life? If you think about it, even if you're in a relationship or friendships with your friends or anybody, you have your own free will to do what you want to do, right? Why aren't you doing what you want to do? We always kind of,
and I think we see it when it comes to kids, because we're always talking about don't give in to peer pressure. Mm-hmm. But we don't see it when it's adults, even with our friends, you've got to keep up with this one and you've got to keep up with that one. And oh, well, this one was just bought a Chanel bag. Okay, but did you want that Chanel bag? Do you really need a Chanel bag? Did you want that particular color?
Right.
And the funny thing is, I think, I don't know if men go through this, but women will do it even when shopping, on shopping trips.
Mm,
It's like, I'm buying these shoes. You should buy a pair too. Now you may have gone looking for a dress or looking for something else. You're in a department store, you stop at the shoe section. So now your friend is buying shoes. Now you're buying shoes and a dress
right.
instead of just going for the dress or the clothes that you were looking for.
Right. Or just focusing on helping her, right? Not spending any money. I'm just saying, because a lot of
Yeah,
times it does become not a challenge, but you're doing it, so I kind of got to do it. Or you're one upping
right.
me, or oh, okay. A lot of times I don't necessarily think men in that environment challenge, because I was even with I was with three guys this weekend helping them shop. And it wasn't like they were competing with one another, but I will say a lot of times when I do go shopping with women, it does get a little competitive, or there's
Very.
never enough. There's like, and I hate to say this sometimes with a lot of people that love shopping, is there's this void that it's never going to get filled. Like if you walk into a lot of women's bathrooms, a lot of times I would say, forget the closet. We've talked about that. You walk into a woman's like bathroom in their house or their apartment, a lot of times there's thousands of dollars of inventory sitting there between creams, right? Shampoos, clean. I mean, we could go on forever. I'm not going to list everything, but if you look at all the products they have for their hair, makeup, I mean, it's crazy. How much makeup do you truly need? How many brushes do you really need? How many type of hair products do you need? How many types of conditioner do you need? Like, and
And I think,
also
the crazy
it's
part is
just
we will validate it. We will validate it. We'll be like, I need that brush, but I need that. I need, you
right.
know, this is for my frizzy hair day, or this is for my not having body hair day, or this. And it's like, when you think about it, we kind of don't, clean is clean. So you don't need 20 shampoos. You don't need, so yeah.
Why are you buying all those products? If you really get to the core of it, I get it makes you feel better, hopefully, right? But a lot of those things you keep buying isn't necessarily because you need them. It's because you're kind of insecure you don't have them, or you're insecure that if I don't put this on my face, or I don't put this type of shampoo, or I don't have 4 different types of shampoo, or I don't have multiple things, right? Even perfumes. I tell a lot of people, you don't need more than 2 or 3 perfumes. I know a lot of people are like, you're out of your mind. A lot of them spoil in a certain amount of time. And also, why do you have to have $500, $1,000 worth of perfume sitting there?
Right.
Again, and you're going to most likely smell something else you like in the next year or so. So instead of boxing yourself in, I'm just using colognes as an example. We could go into clothes and shoes and everything. You don't need, all these. Why do you have 100 pairs of shoes? I love shoes. I get you love shoes. But if you can't, again, pay your rent, or you're struggling in your life, but are you buying all these shoes to please others? Are you doing it for yourself? Do you really need a shoe for every outfit you wear? And again, a lot of people don't have money, but they have a lot of things that they spend money on that they really shouldn't be. It's insecurities. And
Right. Right.
you sometimes, I don't think people a lot of times know who the hell they are. They unconsciously just keep doing the same shit over and over again, as thinking it's going to make them feel better, which, yeah, when you buy it, you feel better. And then you get the credit card and you feel miserable. You're right. Or I'm just saying, you go to your bank account and, if you spend an extra $50 a week on shit you don't need at the end of the year, and then you want to go buy a home, or you want to buy something, you don't have the money to do it. Now you're going to put yourself more in debt. But I have all these clothes and I have all this. A lot of things we're buying is a bad investment too. So that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, but you know what? And I will say this, the one way I got out of that was find a bank that sends you notifications of what is in your balance daily.
They don't like that, people. A lot of people, I don't think, want to look at their bank account daily.
That made me stop and take stock. Okay, well, if and I don't mean with prompting, like get something that rings just like your morning alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And there are banks that do it, that will send you, hey, good morning, you have this account, this amount in your bank account. What will now say, you'll say, okay, darn, I thought I had this much in my checking account, or I need to make sure I keep this amount in my checking account, or hey, I'm aiming, I have a goal for where I want to save for, so I cannot spend this.
Right.
But because you get to looking and you say, hey, you know what? You get that sticker shock.
Yeah.
So definitely that is one of the keys to me. And that's what I have is I have a bank account that says, hey, good morning. This is what's in your bank account.
All right. Yeah, and a lot of people have automatic withdrawals, and they kind of forget that a lot of money may be being drawn out. It could be your electric bill,
that
it could
was
be a
my
car
issue.
payment, whatever. You forget
Yeah.
about that stuff, and then all of a sudden you look, you're shocked because then you went and spent X amount of money on probably most of the times we're buying things are things we don't need. I'd hate to say it. Stop buying shit you don't need, or that
Yeah.
things you already have. Not to be arrogant about it, but again, why are you buying these things? A lot of times, or why are you living a certain lifestyle that keeps hurting you instead of helping you? And there's that hurt or that hurt kind of component. Like I just said, you go shopping, you buy something, I feel great. And then you get home and then you know you can't afford it. You kind of shopper's remorse. You're like, oh, whatever. And then you get the bill and then you're upset. Then you got to return it, or you got it. You got to pay interest on more money on a piece of clothing or something that's already going to be worth not much in the future. So it's kind of this ongoing thing. And it goes with a lot of things. It could be a car, it could be a boat. There's a lot of things, men too, that and women that buy things that are, why are you buying it? You know what I mean? Like, and look at the long term a lot of times of what you're really going to get out of value out of this.
Right. And I mean, even and even thinking about something as simple as streaming, because I just did an episode on streaming apps and networks and all those new things. Everybody's got a plus, Amazon, AMC Plus, this Discovery Plus, whatever. But this is what we're doing. And that market knows, hey, I priced it at $3.99. You're not thinking I have 10 of these at $3.99 every month. You're spending essentially $40, or actually over, because they charge you tax. Yeah. So you're spending over $40 to watch TV. At that point, you are up to at least buying internet or a small cable bill. So either buy the cable or don't, but now you have 10, and how many of them are you actually watching? You can't watch all of them at the same time. Yeah, great to have variety, but are you actually watching all those little channels that you have?
Yeah. Everyone wants a piece of your check. You know what I mean? I always say that, the car company, or, they want a piece, maybe your rent, your mortgage, which is understandable. That's where you live, but maybe Discover Card wants a little piece of you, Bank of America, your credit card there, or whoever you have. Chase, you may have a card through or whatever. Everyone wants you to pay a little interest, wants you to get a little more debt. It's all they all want you paying them some type of interest on your money. And a lot of things that you're buying, again, why are you doing a lot of things you're doing? And I'm not saying you can't enjoy your life. Believe me, I'm the king of, I'm about experiences more than about possessions now. I've definitely been heading towards minimizing everything. I keep minimizing my closet because I'm like, if I'm not wearing this in a certain amount of time, I'm getting rid of it. It's not only taking up space, but I don't even want it to clutter my brain, because obviously I don't like it if I haven't worn it in 6 months, unless it's something like a tuxedo or something like that. But again, and I don't want to keep buying other things to replace the stuff I'm kind of getting rid of, because I think that's another thing that a lot of us do. Like, oh, I don't want this anymore. I get rid of it, but I'm like, but I do want it in this color. I get it, but the truth is, do you really need it? Do you really need it in that color?
Right.
Like,
and I think, and I think that's another thing that women do, because we will say, I like this top. Now I have to have this top in every color it comes in. Why do you need it in every color? And usually there's some bizarre color. Oh, I needed it in lime neon green. What do you have that is going to go with that specific color of green? Now you're shopping for green shoes or pants or something to go with that. And now it's causing extra stress. And this still goes back to allowing people to put things on us, because when you're saying, okay, I have to have this, and more than likely you're doing this to compete with people who aren't competing with you. Because one of the things that I often find myself telling my male friends is, don't do a comparison with your female friends. Why? Because she's already in a silent competition with other women. It always happens. I mean, think about it. What do we have? We have shows that sit up there and ask us, well, who wore it best?
Yeah.
Guess what? If a company only wanted to put out one dress, they would have put out one dress. They put out thousands of dresses in myriad of sizes.
Yeah.
So, in other words, even though you may not think that it's good for that person's body type or whatever, they made it for that person to wear. That person spent their money or someone bought it for them. It is their dress. It doesn't matter. They felt comfortable enough to wear it outside, because trust and believe, if you don't feel comfortable in something, you're not wearing it outside.
Yeah.
So I think that is the crazy thing, is that we do this and we're now still trying to keep up, and not being comfortable with it. But we're allowing someone to say, you know what, you need to have 1 million of these. Why? Why do I need to have 1 million?
Right.
And that's the crazy part, is we need this. I need this. I need that. I need the other. Why?
Yeah, we've discussed it. Fashion is looking good on what you can afford, right? Let's just call it for what it is. If you're kind of caught up to, and it's not just fashion, it could be squishmallows, right? It could be collecting cigars for guys. It could be glasses. Is there a difference between me going to dollar store and getting a bunch of these for $1, 10 for $10 or whatever? Or if all of a sudden I want to go to the mall and start collecting Cartiers out of nowhere. I'm just like, oh, I need to start collecting Cartier brands, which could be 300, 500, 800, because you all of a sudden want to make that part of your identity. And if you can afford it, like me and you discussed a lot of times, man, go with it. Go with whatever you can afford. But most of the population really just gets caught up, I think, hurting themselves. And I am all about helping your image. And I want you to look the best you can look at all times. But at the same time, inside, I don't want you, either having to kill yourself with 3 jobs to support it, or on the other end, being in debt. And a lot of people don't want to talk about how much they're in debt with credit cards, or just how much money they really don't have in their bank account, how they literally live week to week, which is very stressful. And I've been on both ends. I've had a lot of money, and then I've been in debt a lot of money. And I've also spent, after a certain amount of time, I had to say, what do I truly value more here? My health and wellness and my well-being? Or do I have to constantly dress better than everybody else, or look better, or one up everyone? Or every time I go to the mall, spend money. And I go to the mall probably more than anyone still to this day. And I probably buy the least amount of things.
Really?
Yeah, because I take people or clients or friends, or me and Rhea go. So I'm always looking at what's in style. And I have a friend that shops. This is one of his things. It sounds crazy, but a lot of women should try this. I know this may sound really crazy. He goes in, shops, tries everything on. Everything he likes, puts aside, and then he may buy one piece or no pieces. He looks at just putting them on and whatever. Then he'll only pick one piece if he out of everything, instead of taking. And every time he goes home, he takes that one beautiful, great piece, and then he built his wardrobe off that, and he knows that is it. And he loves shopping. So a lot of it isn't just what you're, it's not just the purchasing. It's shopping for it. And then if he does have buyers, like shoppers remorse or buyer's remorse or whatever you want to call it, like, then he can go back and get it. But most of the time he's like, man, after a week or two, he's like, I saved $1,000. I saved $500.
Yeah.
I saved $300. He gets to shop and figure things out instead of buying it, maybe returning it. But my point being is, a lot of women, I think they like to shop. Don't get me wrong, they like to buy, but it's kind of more shopping than it is purchasing, if that kind of makes sense. And I think a lot of women are scared, because you try clothes on in that store for a long time. You feel obligated that you got to buy everything that fit you. You really don't. And you may want to, I talk about my model Bible, taking photos of yourself a lot of times, and all everything you wore that you liked. Take photos, walk out, go to another store, same thing, walk out. At the end of the day, look at them all. Because a lot of times you're buying things at one store, and then you find something better at another store. And then you may find a discounted thing at this store. And then you go, maybe even do it in a week, because a lot of times, and they'll even hold pieces for you. You look, and I can assure you, be like, no, I don't. I'm happy. I didn't spend 300 there, and I didn't spend 400 there and 200 there. Oh, I do like this though. If you can't go back and get it, you get it online. But just kind of shop, don't buy or commit.
Right.
So
that is true. That is true. I mean, that's the gist of it. And I think one of the things that I did learn couponing is not being afraid to walk away.
Yep.
Not being afraid to walk away. The big thing about couponing, I don't know if you know, is the math.
Yeah, of
because you're trying to make things cost as little as possible.
course.
So a lot of times when the math doesn't add up, and no, this is not a pun, but when the math doesn't add up,
Hold on,
I hear
Queen Pin.
purr,
Hold on.
baby.
I got the crazy dog. Come on.
I hear purr, baby.
Oh, I think her mommy's home. She heard the garage. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, so no problem. So one thing is that when the math doesn't add up, it's okay to walk away
Yes.
because you've gone and planned. And one of the things I think differently about clothing shopping as opposed to couponing is you're planning out what you're getting. You have a strategy to get it down to the price you want it,
Yes.
regardless of what you're buying. So, but when it doesn't add up, when a manager says no, when the discount doesn't come off, sometimes this is why I tell people, don't turn into a mega Karen. Don't ask for the manager. Don't demand to see a supervisor. Don't argue. You want to shop in some of those same stores.
Right.
So you just walk away. Walk away
Right.
from it. Say, hey, you know
Absolutely.
what? Okay, it didn't add up. Maybe I added up something wrong. And sometimes it's simple as not even walking away from it permanently, but walking away from it temporarily and taking time to do the quick math in your head while you're in the store. Get off the line. Don't hold up the cashier's time and say,
Yeah.
let me look at this. But again, it's taking the time to take a step back and reassessing. And that's really what it's about, is reassessing.
Absolutely. Learning to say no and learning
Yeah.
how to deal. We discussed this. Just because something's on sale, I always talk about don't buy anything unless it's really on sale or discounted, unless you truly want it, right? I get you want to pay full price sometimes for certain things, but on the other end, just because it is discounted or just because you have a coupon does not mean you always need it or you have to buy it.
Right. And that's the other thing, is finding out, do I need this? Because I told you at the time when I had my son gave me that real big validation check, like, you have one head, I have one head.
Yeah.
Why do we have so much shampoo?
Right. Yeah. It's never enough. Like that empty hole. Like I said, there's that void. Yeah. Like
And it's
shampoo is
about
going to go.
checking yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. It's just, there's so many things we could get into. I don't know if it's insecurities too. And I'd hate to box people in, but I do think a lot of us grew up without a lot of things and it's never enough, right? Or we may have lost a lot of things in a certain event. You may have had divorced parents and then, somebody moved and they threw out all your stuff. I'm just saying, or you wanted certain things, you wanted to collect certain things throughout your life when you were younger or whatever age you are, and you never were able to. And then all of a sudden you may be doing really well or doing better. Then all of a sudden you start buying all these things. And before you know it, now you're not doing as well. And now you're in debt again. So there's all these things, but it's just possessions don't, get me wrong, make people happy. But there does come a fine line again, I think, where they can also, when you start hoarding or it starts to look at your apartment or look at your house when it kind of starts devouring you. And I know some hoarders that even own businesses and you can't even walk in their house, you know what I mean? Or they become collectible, or the collectors of, it could be music, it could be albums, it could be whatever the hell it is.
And I think that is the one thing, everybody wants to collect something.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've even had toys where it's like, gotta have them all. Like, why? What is going to happen if you don't have all of them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, and I think this is something that we even get as children. We're comparing, well, you've got this toy at this, and I've got this toy at that, and we need to have as many. I need to have as many, and even as parents, now we're feeling bad. Well, I remember one time my son came home and he's like, well, my friend has this and I want that particular one, but you already have one. But I want that particular one. So now you're kind of like feeling like the bad parent and you want to get your child that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to figure out that line and figuring out that peer pressure just doesn't just go away. It doesn't just go away.
Yeah. I think too, like as we age, a lot of people want to leave a lot of things to their family members if they pass away or that's part of their legacy. But I'd hate to tell a lot of people is a lot of the stuff you have is shit that people don't want. That's what you wanted a lot of times, especially if you go in people's garages or you go in their attics or you go in their basements. Actually, you're leaving them with a lot of things that are actually probably not that valuable to a certain degree. And it's a hassle to either throw it out or whatever. You've left them
Find
with all
someone to
this.
give it to, or
Yeah.
And the thing I think what most people don't think of is, guess what? As we get older and we get our own stuff, you have your own house, you have your own apartment, you have your own stuff.
Yeah.
So everyone has their own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, abundance. You know what I mean? I think sometimes too, we think more is better, and a lot of times it's more aggravation. I talk about it a lot. It could be cars again, it could be both, even for wealthy people. Don't underestimate buying a lot of things. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Maintaining those things, maintaining those things. I don't care.
Yeah. Speaking of cars, I don't know if you remember that commercial where, what was it? There was this car and the slogan was Ola is Ula, which meant bigger is better, supposedly.
Yeah.
And everybody went around saying this and saying this and saying this. And think about it. This is ingrained in our brains. And this was what, a commercial from like the 80s?
Right.
And I still remember it now, and it's 2022. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we started off with my TikTok. We went in totally different direction, and I like it. It's about.
Well, we always do. We always do.
We started off with that. I like it. We went to that. Yeah. Yes. I'm with you. I'm minimizing everything. I was goofing around with Rhea and I said, listen, I'm ready to live in a 1-bedroom. She almost rolled her eye, like laughing at me. And I said, I want to make a statement. I do not want to be bothered. Plus, I do not want to take care of anything. I'm not kidding. Like, get her, if it's a 2-bedroom, make one a closet and maybe part office, but in the other room is just a bedroom, and call it a day. Because the bigger, for me, the more aggravation. Homes, I don't care if they're townhomes, all these things, more cars aggravate me, I just want to spend time doing exactly what I want to do. I'm not a guy who wants to take care of a home anymore. I don't want to take care of a boat or boats. I don't want to take care of sports car. If I get a nice car, one good car, you know what I mean? Call it a day. That's all I want to maintain. And I'm telling you, a lot of people out there, they don't realize by minimizing a lot of what they have, it starts to give them so much freedom to do other things. It could even be your home. If you got a big home and you always got to clean it, you got to landscape it, maintain it, getting out of that if you don't want it. And the cost of that, you have more income, less stress. If you're making money on your home or your business, I get that. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that maintain a lot of things that are just devouring their life. Because I just heard something recently. I heard this, it sounds crazy, but we sleep for 8 hours, right? And say you work for 8 hours, just saying 16 hours. Then you got to shower, go to the toilet, eat, all these things. You're left with 3-4 hours to your day to do what you want to do. If you're spending all that time maintaining a lot of things that aren't even that valuable or that you don't even care about, or you're exhausted, you may have to take a totally different approach in your life, I think. But people are afraid to do that too. But you only got so much time.
So true.
Yeah, I don't want to be a slave to possessions. I've always said it. That's what a lot of people end up becoming. And a lot of it's
you don't want your possessions to possess you. And that's really what it's about. Really what it's about.
On weekends, my buddy was always like, my friends are like, you're always there and you go there and you're at Disney and then you're here and you're having a cigar, you're meeting your friends, you have all this time to work on. I'm like, because I don't have to do what you do. You put yourself in a position to have to do a lot of things that you don't want to do, or take care of a lot of things that you don't want to take care of. That was on you. You want to get a big pool. You want to get a house with, again, you want to do your own landscaping and save money. You want all these projects that you want to do. And then you tell me you're exhausted or they cost too much money and you want 2 or 3 cars. You're always bringing one in the shop. You spend your day there. I'm like, that's things you just got to think about. I do what I want to do when I want to do them. And I've structured my life that way. And
that's great.
Yeah, you got it. For me, I'm just too old to mess around. I stopped doing things I don't want to do. I saw that in an Italian
movie. But that's
movie.
Cool. I think more people should think like that. Like, I know someone that has 3 cars, and like you said, one of the cars always needs to be fixed. And then when I mentioned, well, maybe if you cut down to 2 cars, But then it's like, and then the excuse that I got was, well, if two of them need to be fixed, at least that way I still have a car that I can drive. And I'm like, yeah, but at that point you're still fixing something.
Yeah. My dad's
So
got buddies who have 10 cars and they spend most of their time at car shows looking at other cars. He's got 10 cars that he very seldom drives or even looks at. And I get there for investment purposes. That's awesome. But he also has to maintain all those cars. You got to run them. You got to clean them. You got to have everything looked at. So a lot of his life is stressing over cars, maybe even purchasing or flipping them, which is part of his thing. But also he's always trying to get the car shows. I just take my car and I go to a car show and enjoy it. Now, if I wanted to get into the car business, that's different, but he's not even in the car business, but they're always kind of complaining. I had this happen to the car. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm like, what? Just sell those cars. You're older, or keep a few, go to car shows, enjoy the show, and call it a day. In my opinion.
exactly.
So anyways.
But on that note, I think it's a perfect way to end the show.
All right, we'll wrap it up.
So guys, you've been listening to or watching, whichever you're doing, Queen Pin and the Wingman.